Okay, we are talking with, now we're going to be factoring, and this is 7-6, and this is a huge part of Algebra 1 is factoring. And we're going to look at this trinomial, squared plus bx plus c. So we're going to look at this trinomial, and when our a term is 1, so we want to remember back when we have like our standard form of ax plus by equals c, that linear standard form, and the a term was the first, the b term was that, those are the coefficients, so those were the numbers, and that was our, with the y, and the c was our constant. So a, b, and c all represent numbers. Same thing as here. Our a, our b, our c, a, b, and c all represent, actually I should say integers. Technically they should be integers, positive or negative numbers. They could be fractions. We try not to use as a standard form. That's okay. All right, so those are numbers. Now, so we're going to do a little review real quick about multiplying binomials. Again, remember, we can multiply using the FOIL method. Remember the FOIL, first, outer, inner, last, or the box method. Whichever one you choose is fine. I typically like FOIL because that's what I was taught, and that's what I just go to. But it's double distributive. So we have x squared, the outer plus 5x, plus 4x, plus 20. Combine like terms. So just as a review, this should be x squared plus 9x plus 20. Okay, now, what we're going to do is we're going to identify, here's our formula, or not a formula, but our form, ax squared plus bx plus c. We're identify the b value and the c value. Okay, so here the a value, these are all going to have the a value of 1. Okay, so this method that we use really works well when the a is only a 1. So our b is a 9 here, and our c is 20. Now, here's what I want you to think of. What is the relationship between 4 and 5 and 9? 4, 5, and the b, which is 9, what do you notice? Great, they add together. Okay, so add. So 4 plus 5 equals 9. So the 4 and the 5 added together equals 9. Now look at the 20. What 20 equals 20. That's going to come into play here shortly. So you will quit that real quick, because we could have gone, oh, well, 4 plus 5, that's 9. 4 times 5, that's 20. Now this only works when you have the x value, the leading coefficient is 1. Okay, so your a term is 1. Now, if you want to try this real quick, do that same method. Negative 5 plus 6, well, that's a negative 1. And a negative 5 times negative, why am I saying negative 5? Positive 5. Positive 5 times negative 6 is a negative, times is a negative 30. Add together, it's a negative 1. So let's just go ahead and do this. X squared minus 6x plus 5x minus 30. So that is x squared minus x, which is a 1x, minus 30. Okay, so what's your b term? Negative 1. What's your c term? Negative 30. Well, a negative 6 plus 5 gives you a negative 1. And a negative, I don't know why I did this backwards. That's all right. Negative 5 times, no, that's a positive 5, times negative 6 equals a negative 30. So before this lesson, you should have done something in Delta Math, and you should have seen these, the X pattern. That was prepping you for this lesson. Okay, now we're going to factor polynomials when the degree, the exponent is 2. This is actually called a quadratic. The number of terms is 3. It's trinomial. And the coefficient of the square term is 1. A equals 1. Oh, the square term is 1. Okay, so that means your a term, your a, this that we're using in these things, quadratic, and the leading coefficient is 1. Okay, so what we're doing here, hold on, I got too many things. What we're doing is we are trying to find, we're going to take the a times c and then the b term. So this is going to be similar to what you were doing on Delta Math. So draw your parentheses, okay, and fill in the Draw your parentheses and fill in your variable. Okay, so what they're saying is, so your x squared, so we're going to factor this. So what we're going to do is we're going to, first, if you want to draw your x term, your a times c. This is your a term, that's your c term, that's your b term. Basically, you have 15 times 1, which is 15. Your b term is going to be down here, 8. Now, you are looking, so this is, we're undoing the FOIL method. So just like we did last unit, we are undoing the FOIL method or the box method. We're factoring. We could look to see if there's a GCF, but there's not because it's only a 1 in the front. Now, what numbers multiply to get 15, but add to 8? Because they're both positive. Good. That's going to be 3 and 5. Okay. That means they're multiplying to get 15, but adding together to get 8. Now, pay attention to the signs here. That's positive, and that's positive. So when you factor, it's x plus 3 times x plus 5. Now, what I would do is I'd go ahead and FOIL it, do the box, and test it to make sure you have it right. Now, this one, here's your A, here's your B, here's your C. So your A times C, which is a negative 36. It's just going to be your C term right now because it's A's. Now watch, make sure you put a negative, and your 9 there. Now, what numbers do you multiply to get a negative 36, but add together to get a 9? Positive 9. Okay, negative 36. That means one of these have to be negative. But I want a positive 9. So you can do a negative 3 and a positive 12. You can't have a negative 12, otherwise that'd be a negative 9. So your two terms are in x minus 3 and x plus 9. These will factor, like this is your factoring of this. That means if we FOIL to do the box method, that would produce that trinomial. These two binomials produce that trinomial. Okay. All right, so let's try. Factor each trinomial. This is starting with 1. So you're looking for numbers that multiply to get 20, but add together to get 9. Okay. So if you want to do your x, that's going to be 20, positive 9. What numbers multiply to get 20? Oh, 4 and 5. Sometimes I forget. I'm like, which ones? So it's going to be n plus 4 n times n plus 5. Now you can have these switched, and that's fine. You can have n plus 5 first. That's totally fine. Okay. So then we have 1 and 2. Multiply to get 1, but add together to get 2. That's going to be 1 and 1. So you're really saying y plus 1 times y plus 1, which is really, notice this. This is going to be y plus 1 squared because it's the exact same thing twice. Okay. Now, refoil these or do the box method and test it to see if you get really what you have here. Be careful of this negative. So you're really saying x, that's your first term. Now you have a negative. So one of these have to be negative. Okay, so one of them have to be negative. Doesn't matter which one. But I'm going to do the x here. We have a negative 18 and a positive 3. What times multiplied to get 18, but add together to get a positive 3? Well, one of these has to be negative. Okay, 18, 6 and 3, and that's 3 apart. So 6 and a negative 3. So it's going to be negative 3, positive 6. Okay, so we're factoring here. All right, hopefully you can start seeing this. Hopefully you can, well, I'll definitely help you down here maybe. We'll go ahead and finish these. If you want to pause it and try it yourself, please do. Negative 6, positive 1. So that's going to be 3 and 2, but that's going to be positive 1, so that has to be a negative 2. Because that is a positive 1, I need this one to be a negative. So then you're going to take x plus 3, x minus 2. Okay. Then negative 30, negative 7. Ooh, oh, darn it. I shouldn't have written pen. Okay, 30 and 7. 30 and 7. Oh, 10 and 3. 10 and 3. Now that's a negative 7, so that has to be a negative 10. So it's going to be x minus 10, x plus 3. Negative 64 and negative 12. Multiply to get 64. 8 and 8, that won't work. 4 64 divided by 4 is 16. Oh, that's the difference of 12. So sometimes you have to really think about what are the factors here. So this is 4 and 12. That's negative, but that's, no, 4 and 16. Sorry, 4 and 16. So the negative 4. X minus 4, x plus 16. Now, here's where if you need to do some more work with me on this, I totally understand. Factoring is not just automatically, I don't know. Some people can get it. Some people need more help. Do not be afraid to say, I need more practice, because that's what this is. It's all about practice. 50 and 15. So 2 and 25. Nope, that's not far enough. 5 and 10. 5 and 10. So 5 and 10. That's a positive. That's a negative, though. Ooh, wait. These both need to be negative. In order to multiply and get a positive, but to add together to get a negative, both of those need to be negative. So you have x minus 5 and x minus 10. All right. So here we have 49 and a negative 14. Okay, 7 and 7 I see right away, but it has to both be negative. So you have an x minus 7, which you could rewrite it, x minus 7 squared. Make sure the square's on the outside, though, not with just the 7. So this is, yep, that's the same. All right, what about this one? Ooh, careful. Okay, I'm going to help you with this one because you have these y's here. So you have 66 and a y squared, which means you're going to have an x and you're going to have a y at the end. You're going to have an x and a y. So then we're going to have numbers in between. And 17. Ooh, 66 and 7. 17. 66. I'd start there. 6 and 11. Oh, that works. They're both positive. So you're going to have x plus 6y, x plus 11y. Now, the reason you have a y at the end is because you have a y squared. Okay. All right. So important reminders. Now, this can get real, jumbled, but now, if C is positive, if this is positive, and B is positive, if your middle term and your last term are positive, then both factors are positive. So if they're both positive, that means both of these are positive. If C is negative, if the last number is negative and the middle number is positive, the smaller factor is negative. Okay, so the smaller factor, which is like this one. Oh, those are both negative. Where's a negative and a positive? The smaller factor, that 2 was negative. If C is negative and B is negative, then the bigger factor is negative. And then if C is positive but the B is negative, then both factors are negative. Okay? This just has to do with a lot of practice with this. If you're not understanding this and you're practicing on your Delta Math, and you're like, I'm getting this wrong, definitely come to class and ask for help. I will definitely help you because this takes some time sometimes to get used to it.